Today on the Dennis Michael Lynch Show, it is Life After 50, our 4th episode. It's going to be one that pulls at your heartstrings, and it's all unfiltered.
Dennis Michael Lynch gives you his word, and he will never let you down. He will always fight for America.
The only one who really puts his money where his mouth is Dennis Michael Lynch.
Hello, I'm Dennis Michael Lynch, and I thank you for joining me today. Sitting across from me is the beautiful Miss Mary. You know, you never say to me, sitting across from me is the very handsome Mr. Dennis.
Well, I never get to do the introduction. Maybe next week I'll do it.
All right, go ahead.
No, I'm not doing it
Let's
raw.
just do a test.
No.
Hi, I'm Mary Lynch. Go ahead, try it.
Hi, I'm Mary Lynch, and across from me is my very handsome husband.
Very handsome. Oh, my God. All right, anyway, one of these days, a man can pray, a man can wish. Speaking of praying and wishing. So over the last few episodes, I think we've set a tone for what people can expect. And if you're new to this, what we do is we pick out an Instagram video and we play it. And then we give our analysis of it, thoughts, what have you. And wherever the conversation it goes, it goes. For those people just listening, imagine an 88-year-old man sitting on a park bench. Next to him is a woman who is younger but still older. And they have their shopping carts. They're homeless. And in comes a young man, probably in his late 20s, early 30s. And he bends down and he starts talking to this complete stranger who is a homeless man. He's white. And you could just tell he's disabled in a way that he's probably stuck to that bench on most days. Play the video, Ryan.
I haven't ate today. Do you have anything to eat by chance?
No, I'm waiting too.
How old are you?
88.
You're 88?
Mm-hmm.
Do you live out here?
Yeah, I'm on the street.
You're not a veteran, are you? Where do you sleep at night?
Okay.
Just on the ground?
Yeah,
I didn't even ask. What was your name?
Chuck.
I'm Josh, Chuck. Nobody your age should be sleeping out on the streets. What could I do to help you?
Probably nothing. Somebody stole my wheelchair, electric wheelchair. They've been trying to get me one now for 6 months.
How much is it?
13, 14 grand.
I don't have a lot to give you, but I have a little bit here.
Well, thank you. God bless you.
You okay?
Yeah, that's the first time somebody gave me one that much. Oh, my family's gone. These are the first tears I shed in probably 20 years. Now she is a real blessing. She has probably been with me 30, 35 years. She takes care of me.
You can't be walking on those.
I try not to.
But that's all you got.
No,
What would that wheelchair mean to you?
it breaks my heart.
What would a place to live mean to you?
I wouldn't know. I've lived in the streets now for about 35, 40 years.
What would that mean to you if we could get you a place to sleep and an electric wheelchair?
God's blessing. I gotta take her with me.
That's okay. I have 30 million followers online. They're gonna come together and we're gonna try to get you an electric wheelchair and get you off the streets if possible. You worked for us, so now it's my turn to work for you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your love and kindness. And may God bless you.
The guy who led that whole video is a guy named Josh Genquist. He's got 6.3 million followers alone just on Instagram. Now, in that a video. He says
Yeah.
to the man, I have 30 million followers. That must be when he's collecting together.
Across
TikTok
social media.
and YouTube. Before we started the show here, I looked up to see how much money Josh has raised for this veteran, because obviously he needs $14,000 to get a chair. And then, of course, anything, that maybe he could live in. So far, Josh, in a matter of a few days, has raised $253,000 for him,
Nice.
right? There's a lot of things that 20-year-olds could be doing online. And you look at this kid's account, and it's just he's out there helping one person after the next. Some of them are homeless. Some of them are just low-income people. And, he'll do things like he'll walk up to a guy who's selling, this guy right here, who's selling, just trying to make a couple extra bucks. This kid.
Oh, yeah, I see. Mhm.
Yeah, his mother is injured. She can't work. So now he's out selling snow cones.
Yep.
And what he does, he goes in and he buys all the snow cones from him. So he does a lot of good deeds. And it looks like he uses his audience to do that. And I got to tell you, what a pleasant thing to see. When
Is he 20?
I don't know. You look at his face.
I know he looks young. I'm saying
he looks young.
he's-
I don't know how young he is.
Oh, okay.
But he ain't 40.
No.
No. So this is what this young guy has decided to do with himself.
Yeah.
And it's such a rarity.
It is, but it's like pay it forward kind of thing, know.
Well, it would be interesting to see who paid it to him to start with.
Right. What got him into it?
Yeah, but so many people who are influencers have all these millions and millions and millions. A lot of these kids are out there playing practical jokes and pranks on people. It's a nice thing to see that there's still a little bit of humanity left.
Well, it's social media being used for good.
Yeah.
Not for the self, but to pay it forward to help others. So it's a great example.
It's a great example.
Yeah.
So let's move a little bit more into the side of the people who are donating. $250,000 for this guy in 4 days. What does that say about Americans when they see something like this?
There's hope. Well, because everybody's always gloom and doom, you know, and everybody thinks we're more divided than united. And I think that's a perfect example of we're not as divided as we think. In some areas, obviously, but when it comes to humanity and taking care of each other, that's a lot of money.
100% of donations will go toward a new electric wheelchair so Chuck can move comfortably and without pain, safe housing, starting with short-term placement and working towards long-term stability, food, clothing, and basic necessities, ongoing support for Chuck and his companion Heidi, and travel expenses. No veteran should spend their final years on the streets. No one should be forgotten. We will post updates along the way. And I don't know if it doesn't really say how many. It just says how you could donate. 9,300 people have donated so far, Ryan says.
Wow.
9,300 people. 9,300 people. This guy's got 6.3 million followers.
Yeah.
You would hope it's going to grow to more than that.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah, I think it will too.
Yeah.
I'm going to give some money to it,
Yeah.
And I like the idea that we're doing well for somebody, especially when you look at a veteran. Our country, man. We have just totally forgot about these people. How do we let this kind of thing happen?
Well, I don't know the answer to that, but I just know that we put some people put their energy into the wrong thing. Like we're worried about somebody being called illegal. Meanwhile, we have veterans that were willing to die for our country that are now living on the streets. The percentage I know is like off the charts for veterans that are homeless.
Oh my goodness. So when we made United States of Tents, it was predominantly the homeless a lot of them are veterans.
Yeah.
What happens, these guys and gals, they come back from war or they come back from overseas, whatever it is. And, they've been trained to be killers.
Yeah.
They've been trained that the enemy is always around them. And then when they come back to normal civilian life, Nobody detrains them.
Right.
Nobody trains them how to just be a civilian
Yeah.
again. And so a lot of times what winds up happening is that, they disconnect from family, or family disconnects from them. They do get hung up on drugs and alcohol because it's the only way to,
Sedate.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, the slide happens and they just wind up being on the streets and they're largely forgotten about.
Well, I think there's a mental health component too. I mean, that it wasn't too long ago, the story about that child actor who was living on the streets, and the guy came and put him in a hotel, and it's like he had a roof over his head, he had food, but it wasn't enough. Like, he needed somebody to give him mental health intervention.
Right, because he slipped right back.
Yeah, he ended up trashing the hotel room, freaked out, and then took off.
And
Paid for the month, gave him
Yeah.
money for food,
yeah,
and he didn't last more than, I think, 48 hours.
right, because he
And-
went right back into
yeah,
where
and
he
he-
was.
So it's not just putting a roof over their head and giving them food. They need the mental health services. I just hope he gets more than just a roof and food, and the woman too.
Of course.
You
of
know,
course.
I mean, that money should cover a lot of things,
a ton of things.
like therapy.
A ton of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, a ton of things. And you would, the thing is that the VA is supposed to give him those sort of services.
I know I'm sure he's waiting for that wheelchair
Well, he's been
replacement from the
waiting
VA.
6 months.
Yeah.
6 months. I can't understand for the life of me how a country like ours that has so much money.
Yeah.
We just did a thing earlier in the week. The spending bill just passed. I think it was $3.8 billion to Israel,
Jeez.
$2 billion to Jordan, and $1.5 billion to Egypt. So right there, you're talking about almost $8 billion to 3 countries, and we can't get
Yep.
a veteran a $15,000 wheelchair. I mean, there's so many things to talk about. I mean, switch gears for a second, because we got 9,300 people who are willing to give money to this poor man.
Right.
And yet we had one person willing to steal his wheelchair.
Yeah.
And you know what that person did? They stole that wheelchair
And sold it.
and they sold it.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about, you saying about how the country's divided. Of course it's divided. It's been divided for a long time. We're going into decades now. And it started all in 2008. And that division is ugly. But I'm not going to blame political division on what happened right there, where somebody steals that wheelchair. That is literally someone who is not American.
Mm.
I mean, how do you just go back to that video and the things I wrote down about it, one by one. I'm waiting to eat. How many times have you seen restaurants throw out? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, we went, I don't know if you remember this or not, about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago, we went to the bagel store and we were there right at the end of the day.
Okay.
And they just took the bagels and threw it in the bag for us and gave it to us for nothing. And it was still, there were bagels there. Those bagels are going to get thrown out.
Yeah.
Do you know how many homeless people would give anything to eat that bagel?
I know. There should be a system set up where each county, government, local, where if you have that, you can go distribute it.
Yeah.
You give it to somebody who distributes it.
I wouldn't mind, you're going to pay your property tax.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. And I talk about this on the regular, on my political show all the time, about how it is that, the people who are in this country who shouldn't be in this country are draining your tax dollars just from an educational standpoint. It costs almost double to educate those kids.
Yeah.
I sit there and say, wait a second. Why isn't my money going to getting food for the people who are on the streets at a bare minimum? Get them some food. The other thing is 88 years he's been living on the streets for 40 years, and yet he survived. There's more to the story there. I'm sure that the drugs and alcohol have played some sort of issue in keeping him there.
Probably.
But
and you did the doctor that you interviewed, he said it takes just like one last blow. Like, you usually get up, right? You get down and out, you get yourself back up. But he says it's that like final blow where you're just like, you're out. and you don't get back up. And
Yeah.
that's what happened to this guy.
The fact that this guy has survived. I mean,
I was going to say, yeah, that's pretty impressive.
he says he sleeps on the ground.
Yeah.
You know, think about that for a second.
Why aren't people protesting about all the homeless people?
Exactly.
Why we worry about ICE and illegals that are committing crimes and doing terrible things, but nobody seems to be, or we have March for Life and people are protesting that, but nobody's like protesting that the fact that we're just letting our fellow Americans just sleep on the streets,
Rot in the street.
Yeah, basically step over them,
Yeah.
or you walk around them.
And just to put this into perspective for a second, think about how many times we've been on the road and traveling up 95 to go to New York from Florida, and we'll stop at a hotel, and we usually stay at a nicer hotel. I mean, there aren't really nice hotels on 95; they're all quick stop sort of things. But we don't go to the Motel 6; we'll go to the Hampton Inn.
Right?
How many times have we gone to a Hampton Inn, laid in the bed, and been like, "Oh, this bed sucks."
Yeah. Meanwhile,
And this
he's
guy's
sleeping on the ground.
He's sleeping on cardboard.
Yeah.
And I guess there's a certain degree of where you just sort of just get used to it and you make the best of it that you can.
Well, they certainly are in California. They just kind of walk over them, walk around them, turn the other way. I mean, I don't see anybody outraged about what's taking place there.
No.
It's like a city, a homeless city in some areas. I mean, you've seen it, you filmed it.
Yeah. I mean, last year when I started doing the Life After 50, the first iteration of it, which was me interviewing people, I remember having the guy come over from Uganda.
Yes.
And for the first, I think it was 16 years of his life, he slept on the ground. And then the first night he ever slept in a bed. And I said to him, man, like, what was that like?
Yeah.
And he said, for the first 16 years of my life, I had no idea what a bed was.
Right. Didn't know what he was missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says, and then when I knew what I was missing, it was like, oh my goodness, what else in the world don't I have?
Yeah.
I saw a statement, I think it was on Instagram, that it said, the next time you are having a bad day and you're feeling sorry for yourself, remember that 99.9% of the people in the world would love to be in your shoes.
To have your day. Yeah.
Right?
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Nobody has done anything to help me. This is the most money anybody's ever given me. And then he said about his wheelchair being stolen. Can you imagine that? You got nothing to your name other than the clothes and few items that you may have in your shopping cart, and you depend on that electric wheelchair to be able to get around, and somebody steals it from you. I mean, I guess at that point you gotta feel
He's
like,
probably not surprised. He's probably seen, living on the street that long, he's probably seen a lot of things.
he's seen it all.
Yeah,
He's seen the worst of humanity,
probably.
and he's living the worst of the country.
And he was still so pleasant,
Well,
He's not like jaded.
the biggest thing in that entire video, which got me, and I got to give this kid Josh huge credit. Josh shook his hand,
Mm-hmm.
and then Josh gave him a hug. I wonder how many decades it's been since somebody, especially a stranger, gave that man a hug.
Yeah.
Because the homeless, not necessarily the cleanest people in the world, not showered, you
Sure.
don't know what they're carrying.
Mhm.
And this kid gives him a hug.
Yeah.
And, he said he hadn't cried in 40 years or in whatever the number was. I bet you part of that crying was that he just had another human show care and concern.
Sure. It's like tears of joy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people, he has Heidi, obviously.
which I wanted to comment on. So, this young kid comes up, gives him money, tells him he wants to get him off the street. And it isn't just like, oh, me. It's, well, it has to be we. She has to come with me. She has to be part of it. So I thought that was really powerful.
Oh, completely
Yeah.
powerful. Complete. And it,
And it was like, well, if you can't do both of us, then don't do any of us.
I think it shows, and we could break out of this and just go into the deeper conversation between the two of us. But I think it shows how we're really built. At the end of the day, you know, a lot of times we all get caught into the thirst for material things.
Mm-hmm.
I want that nicer car. I really want that boat. I love this belt on Amazon. I just gotta have it.
Yeah. Need those shoes.
Yeah. Well, no, and
you really don't.
And you never let a shoe deal go by. But I although I shouldn't talk. I got about what?
I was going to say, let me tell you
I'm a
something.
big shoe guy all of a
I think
sudden.
you're surpassing me on the shoes.
I'm a big shoe guy. Well,
but that's the point.
I save my sneakers.
You know, back in the day, people had like one pair of shoes. And now people have closets just for shoes.
I know.
I mean, that's how the arc of how we've come.
But think about, and maybe you need to see a video like this to recognize how disconnected we are from what is most important.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a man who has nothing. The one thing that he had, that one material thing that he had, was something he needed.
Sure.
Which was the wheelchair. And the first thing that comes to his mind is, she's been with me. She has to come with me, whatever. It shows you that the way that God built us really is, we're built for human interaction more than we are for gathering material items.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I just watched a documentary last night. It was about 1975. And I was like, why did they pick 1975? Because it was a shift. They said, so the concept of the documentary was, before 1975, it was all about we. You know, we help your community, serve your country. You know, it was we. And then they said, after 75, it went to me. It's all about me, inner side, and, you know, inner. And that was the concept of how we shifted from a generation of taking care of each other to a generation of just being, I'm just going to take care of myself.
Did they say what drove that? I mean, because 75 is when the Vietnam era.
Yeah,
was
they
ending.
said there was political divide, and
that's Jimmy Carter.
The concept of movies was always, everything was cheery and happy endings, and the westerns, and you know, the good guy always won. And then after 75, the movies started shifting, like Towering Inferno. Do you remember that movie?
Yes.
The Poseidon Adventure, like people actually die. Like the main character guy dies.
Yeah.
In, Poseidon. So they were saying that there was a shift of presenting movies in a more, what was going on in society. And versus before 75, everything was, perfect, and it was always the good guy that won. And then after 75, they were like, oh wait, the good guy doesn't always win. So, and they went into some other things, but I just found that it was because it hit me. I'm like, why pick 75? And then that was the concept. It went from a we to me. And I don't know where we are now, to be honest with you.
We're beyond the me.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I can't even.
In fact, I'd say it's gone more shallow. It's no more me, it's I.
Yeah.
Because me's got two letters. I is the shortest one you could possibly have.
It's I. Yeah.
Yeah. And I could tell you right now what it is. I could tell you what it is. It is the proliferation of media, in the sense that in 1975, you had to stand up to go change the channel on your rotary television knob. And you had CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox, but not Fox News.
No.
Fox in New
Channel
York,
5.
it was Fox 5 in New York.
Yeah.
You had Fox, and Fox was black and white, by the way, right? The other ones. And then if you were lucky, you had maybe a little bit of 9 and 11. And that was usually just real boring PBS style programming, and once in a while, maybe a little news. And so you weren't inundated. You got your news, if you were lucky, from the newspaper boy who delivered your news at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon when school was over.
Right after school.
And so what you would do is, most times you'd read the first 4 or 5 pages, and then you'd flip over, then you'd have the sports, and you read the sports. Some people may have gone to the horoscope, and that was it.
Yeah.
You weren't consumed by news. You weren't consumed by television. And so what you had to do is you had to be community driven, or else you just sat by yourself in a room with nothing. Maybe you put on the radio.
Yeah.
And then what happened after 1975 is that cable started to play in. And now you expanded beyond the 3 channels with the maybe a couple few
Yep.
to where you had 30 channels, where you had the box, where you had everything. And even that was some empty channels. But you all of a sudden had ESPN,
Yes.
MTV.
And going into 76, the computers were starting, but it was government based mostly, but it was hitting the news about, and it was funny because there was they were interviewing somebody and they were saying how they were making fun of the concept that eventually every person will have their own computer, and they were like, ha ha ha, it's never going to happen. And we're beyond that.
Well, most people
we're headed to the Jensens.
Well, most people have 2 or 3 computers. Because
I know.
Because you got your smartphone and then you got your computer, right? So then then in some cases, you got your Apple Watch. I mean, you're loaded with technology. But if you look at the arc, it is, then after cable, then wound up becoming satellite. You had the dish and everything else, and that starts that. And then the advent of the internet in the early 2000s is when everybody really started getting on. To your point, the PC. Mm-hmm. I mean, remember back in the days of when I think Ryan was a little kid, the way you would get on the internet was through AOL. Remember that? It would be like you dial up.
Yeah.
You've got mail. Remember that?
Yeah.
So
they
then
made that a movie.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
So you got that. Then all of a sudden now you've got streaming. And I mean, it has just continued to compound where it's more media. And now the ability to entertain yourself with the 6 inches away from your eyes. And this is where it's going. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
Because in where we are today, we still have the, in order to be able to talk about what I just saw on my phone, I'm going to talk to you. Now, we just did this on the show the other day. Robots. I mean, Elon Musk is shutting down an entire car plant to do robot creation.
Yeah.
And so now what's going to wind up happening is that people are going to have companions which are robots. And so the need for human interaction is going to be limited. The one other thing too, I'll just take this in another direction for a moment. I was talking the other day on the show about how it is I've been listening to this interview with Tony Robbins.
Oh, that's a name from the past.
Yes, very interesting.
He's still around?
Yes, it's a 3-hour interview. I'm 1 hour in. It's riveting. And he said right now, today, there are more 25 to 35-year-old men living at home with mom and dad. There have never been so many single young men who haven't ever even asked a girl out on a date. They're home gaming.
Yep.
And where his concern is that we are totally leading toward the extinction of the human being.
Yeah.
And people don't see it yet. And so we sit here and we look at Chuck, who's about to get $250,000 and have his life changed at 88.
Yeah.
I'm concerned for the 8-year-old who has absolutely no chance in what is coming to have anything remotely close to what we have.
I just saw an article about that. There's a name for it where the son is staying home.
Armageddon?
No, but there's like how you have the Stepford Wives. Like there's a name, a stay-at-home son. You have a stay-at-home mom. It's something along those lines. And they were saying how young males in their late 20s, 30s are living at home with their parents to help out. So for rent-free, they're down in the basement and, they need the trash taken out. Or, can you, fix this? Can you fix that? And they interviewed these men and they have no problem with it.
We are now creating a situation where normalcy is that your computer, your phone, your robot is your companion.
Yeah.
And you don't need to have intimacy. You don't need to have a partner. You don't need to recreate.
Right.
Everything you need is right here in this whole robot. And if people don't see the destruction that is coming our way from this, then they are just purely blinded. And unlike this man who's going to be saved by $250,000, which will probably go to $500,000 by the time it's done donations, and at 88 will have his wheelchair and probably will have a nice little house with money to, to get food and stuff like that. He'll recover too late as far as I'm concerned, but he'll still recover. And I don't think that there's any level of donations that people will be able to muster up to solve this crazy, crazy place that we have driven society into that is all digital. And,
But you can't stop it.
Mary, I don't know how.
No.
I don't know how. I mean,
We can't even keep up with it, let alone stop it.
well, yeah. When I was thinking about writing a book, I wanted to write a book about the dangers of AI. I couldn't write it because it would have been obsolete in a
Forever
month.
changing. Yeah.
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 I mean, it's literally sad. I'm going through old hard drives, and I'm picking out videos because I'm selling my own problem. I'm looking for old videos that I would be able to cut into little tiny shorts and put up on Facebook, and people would be like, "Oh yeah, I remember that."
Yeah.
Like going down
Nostalgia.
nostalgia. And here I am. What am I doing? I'm looking through videos, not for the sake of I want to relive my past, but because I want to get more people to share.
So it's funny you say that. So
Yeah.
in this documentary,
Yes.
so as they make the shift, all about me after 75, then right around when Reagan became president,
Yes.
maybe a little bit before that, there was this nostalgia shift. You had Little House on the Prairie came out, Happy Days. So, they were saying how people were like, "Oh, this is too much reality." And they wanted to go back to what it was in simpler times. And I forgot about Happy Days. And they did a whole segment.
Laverne and Shirley, yeah.
Yeah, Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah, but here's the difference, honey. Love Boat, Fantasy Island.
Yeah.
But we're beyond that because we still had the ability to turn things off or turn things on. And today it's based on algorithm. And you're going to be shown what's going to outrage or what's trending. And what I was going with looking through the whole videos, do you remember how excited you would be as a kid when you got a bicycle or a ball for your birthday
Sure.
or for
I remember
Christmas?
getting roller skates.
Yeah.
I was like on
Can you
cloud
imagine
nine.
how disappointed a kid would be today if you gave him a pair of roller skates?
They would know what they were.
They're like, what is this?
Four-wheeled, what do we do with this?
What am I supposed to do with this?
How do I sit on this? This isn't a skateboard.
I don't want a bicycle.
Yeah.
I told you what I wanted. I wanted a brand new remote control for my gaming system.
Yeah. But there is, so another article that I read is, I think it's going to come down to human nature, like your personality. So I did read an article that there is a trend starting where, I don't know what generation they are, those people in their 30s. So it'd be like my sisters. I don't know what they're called, but anyway, they're the original, like when Instagram came out, like all the things came out. So they're starting to realize that
Millennial.
yes, they're starting to realize that they need to unplug, because look, I'm sure everybody goes through it. You go too much down the rabbit hole. You're scrolling too much. You say, "Oh, I'm going to do 10 minutes and 2 hours go by." So there is this realization that it is bad, that there are some downsides to it. And things like crocheting, doing puzzles, those old-fashioned nostalgia type things that we did as kids, those are starting to trend. And people are starting to do them to get away from, like, unplugging is what they call it, from the social media. And I just thought I found that very interesting.
It is very interesting, but unfortunately,
Needlework. Remember needlework where you just had to follow the numbers?
never did it myself.
I
but
did.
Yes.
It was so cool.
But, man, we could sit here all day.
Paint by numbers.
I was just going to say paint by numbers.
that's
stuff
coming
of that
back.
nature. Yeah.
Yeah.
The show is going completely against, going away from Chuck. But
Yeah, but Chuck is what's
yeah,
started us down.
Listen, people miss the old days because it was a much simpler life.
Yeah.
Think about, what was it? 3 weeks ago when you had the party for Ashley for the bridal shower.
Yeah.
And the girls rented a house for all the girls that were coming in from out of state. And Ashley's mother-in-law to be went into the house and set it up with some stuff.
Yeah.
And she put in those candy kisses. And I saw them in a bowl, and I'm like, oh my God.
No, people are going to think they're chocolate Hershey Kisses. No, you're talking about the hearts.
The hearts.
With the little saying on them.
The candy hearts.
Yeah, the sugar hearts.
They used to come in a little box, the sugar hearts. You pull them out, and they'd have a little something like, I love you, or, give me a hug, or something like that. And I looked at them, and I said, oh my God, this is back from my childhood. I didn't know they still made these things. I was so excited to see that. And they're not good for me, but I didn't care. I was eating them because I just wanted
sugar.
I wanted to taste my old life.
Sure.
And my concern is that people are going to want that, and it's going to be just too late. And then the other part of that is these kids today don't know what that was.
Yeah.
So they don't know what they were missing. And this is becoming the norm. And this is why it's so dangerous to where things are going. And that's why when I say I see this, you go back to where we started this. You see this kid, Josh, he's a young kid, that he's out there doing the right thing. And the fact that he's got 30 million followers, to use to your word, that means that there's hope.
Well, people are still invested. And I don't think we're ever going to give up on humankind. I mean, that's crazy. And just human nature and just compassion, the basic fundamentals. And, he's taking social media, which we've seen plenty where it's horrible, and he's doing good with it. Yeah. I mean, we did a lot of good, with our donations. And when we were talking about the homeless, when we did the blankets, and we had that TeamDML member, we would send her bunch of blankets and she would go around and hand them out, right before the winter would hit, things like that. So there's still people very invested and believe in it. And just to your point, I think as technology progresses faster, it's just going to take more energy to realize what it was like and what we are capable of doing, because you can get caught up in that.
I don't disagree with you. And I would like to believe, and we'll end on this, that at least the people who listen to us, they still believe in the concept of it's better to give than to get.
Sure.
And in a world of me, now I, it's a concept worth fighting for. But like you said, it's like trying to shovel the sand into the ocean. It's not an easy thing to do.
No.
With that said, I mean, I will ask people here if, Mary and I, we do this every week in addition to the Dennis Michael Lynch show during the week, which is politics driven. Once in a while, we put this show out for everybody to see, but most of the time it is just for TeamDML members. So for a mere $20, Mary and I are retired. We don't take any money. This is to help pay our staff, which is just all of our kids, and to pay the bills. So this way we keep it operating. So if you can find it in yourself, after you donate to Chuck, if you wanted to get a membership for an entire year for just simply $20, you don't miss any shows, no newsletters. You get the ad-free news. Everything is there for you on TeamDML. Go to teamdml.com and help us continue to go and grow.
Yeah.
So this way we don't all fall into the
abyss.
The abyss. All right. Until
we're taking a selfie and fall off a cliff.
Yeah. Well,
but you only went to the cliff to take the selfie.
I thought you called them lonelies.
Yeah, taking a lonely.
Taking a lonely. All right. Until next time. God bless you. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News App from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and TeamDML.